Hey guys, what's up? So I'm gonna continue off where I left last time, and in case you don't know what I'm doing, the reason I'm doing this series of videos is I'm trying to actually finish this Python data science handbook like completely, starting with that NumPy section, moving all the way down to pandas, matplotlib, and machine learning. I figured recording myself or recording what I do after every lesson or whatever is the only way that I'll actually end up doing this, and yeah. Like I said, I'm going to continue off on where I left last time, which was the basics of NumPy arrays. So I looked at NumPy array attributes already, as well as accessing single elements. And now I'm going to specifically be looking at array slicing and accessing subarrays. So yeah, it goes all the way up to this. That's the next section, which I'll do in the next video. But yeah, let's get to it. So to access subarrays, you're going to use brackets just like we did before. You're going to use slice notation within those brackets, and then you're going to be using the colon character as well. So this is what it looks like, at least. Like, let's say, here's our x here. So we want to extract from the array x, and we want to create a subarray from that. So the way you do that is you're going to have three different numbers, or you could have three different numbers inside. Um, you're going to have a start value, the first number there. So let's say you want to looking at this array here. Let's say you want to start index making a subarray like starting with this one here. So you're gonna start at index 0, 1 right over here, colon right after that. You're gonna have the stop value after the start. So whatever value you want to stop at, but you're not going to be including that stop value in that subarray. So let's say you put the number 6 there, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth index. Let's say you stop there. Once you put that 6 here on the stop value, your subarray is only going to include these numbers here. So it's not going to include the actual stop value that you specify or whatever. Like if your stop value has a value of 8, then it's not going to actually include that 8 in the subarray. It's going to just go up to but not include the 8. So you'll have essentially these numbers here. And then after that, you're going to have another colon here, and you're going to have a step value. So the step value, you don't really, you don't need it. If you don't add it there, the default will just be count by ones. But you could specify the step and put a 2 there instead of a 1, let's say. And it's going to count every value in here by like going by 2s. So you have the 0, the 2, the 4, the 6, or whatever. Let's say you put the 4 into step value instead. Then you'll go to, I don't know, 0, 4, and then so on, 8, and so forth. But yeah, let's just go through some examples here. And again, these examples are from the book exactly. Yeah. So import NumPy as MP. Already did that. And then we're going to keep using these this chunk of code here. So we have the random seed just so that every time we run this piece of code, we get the same values every time. So we got x1 being the one-dimensional array, x2 being the two-dimensional array, and x3 is our three-dimensional array, just to hit her there. And then I just created this one as well. So x equals np.arange, the 10 as a parameter. So a list of 10 values from 0 to 10, not include that 10. And yeah. So let's say we want to extract the first 5 elements from this x array here. So we want the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values there already. So you start at index 0 again. Let's keep that in mind. And since we want the first 5 elements, our start value, remember this is how it looks here. Our start value, we're going to start with the colon there. And then we're going to have the 5. So why is that? So if our start value is just this colon, or there's nothing there, right? So everything after the colon we're going to include and go up to the 5. So whenever you have a colon, you basically saying like, give me everything after that colon. Unless you specify a stop point, of course, and like in this case we do, which is a 5. So we want everything from the beginning of the array up to the index 5, but not include index 5. So we should get 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 different values within this, but since we start at index 0, that's why it looks like this. So we're not going to include the actual value 5 here. Let's say we want everything after index 5 from that same X array. So in this case, we're going to have our start value be at 5 because we want everything after the 5. And then you're going to have a colon, and that's it. So 5, and remember in this case we had, since we started with the colon, we wanted everything after that colon up to the 5. In this case, we want to start with the 5, so we basically flip-flop and do everything after, since we have that colon after that. Remember, the colon means you're going to put everything after that colon. It doesn't mean that, but that's what it does. What are the middle subarrays? So let's say we want 4, 5, 6. Like to create this subarray here within this big array. So in that case, you're going to start with 4 because you want to actually include that 4 in here. Once you do that, you're going to put the colon and then have the end value. So we want to go up, we want to include this 6. So since we want the 6 to be inside of the brackets or inside the subarray, we're going to specify that we want to go up to 7 here. So there we go, 4, 5, 6. So start value is 4. We want to start there. We put a colon after that, and we want everything after that 4 up to the 7. Let's say we want every other element. So going by 2s essentially. You're gonna do our, let me just do it here. So our start value is just colon and empty. There's no value there. So we want everything going after, starting with the 0. And then so since we have another colon after that, we literally want the whole thing since we don't have an actual stop value. Because remember, the third value here is a step value. So since we have 2 colons, means from start to end, because there's no actual value to specify where to start or stop exactly. So starting with the colon by itself means we want to start at the index 0. And then again, this is the step size here too. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. You could even reverse them. So I hope I remember this. So remember, I'm still learning, and that's the point of these videos here. So keep that in mind. But if you want to reverse them, you're going to do, I think it's just the same thing. And then -1. Yeah. So we want, again, we're going to have the start value be just the colon there. And then the stop value is a colon as well. So we want to start at index 0 and include the whole array. So that's why we got the 2 colons to begin with on the 2 values there. And then our step value is -1, which basically means we're going to step backwards 1 every time. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yeah. You could also create subarrays from multi-dimensional arrays. So looking at the X2, this is what it looks like initially. So we got 3 rows, 4 columns. So let's say we want 2 rows and 3 columns. We want to extract the 3, 7. So both of these rows and going up to the 2 and 8 here. So 3 columns there. So we're going to do X2. And then, so the way you do it is basically the same type of index in here. Except you're going to, this is, let's include a comma after. I'll just show you. It's a little easier actually. That probably made no sense to you whatsoever. Sorry about that. So 2 rows. We want to include these 2. So when we're indexing, we're going to start with the rows first and then columns. So our first slice notation, our first slice is going to be starting with extracting the 2 rows. So since we want to include the first row, we're going to start with the colon. We want to go up to and include the 7 here. So 0, 1, 0, 1. 1 is the index, but since we want to include it, we have to put a 2 instead of the 1. Since if we put the 1 instead, we're not going to include this row here. Because remember, whatever you specify here is not included in the extraction. And that gives us that, and then we're going to separate it by a comma, and then we're going to extract the columns we want. So if we want 3 columns in this case, we're going to start with a colon again, since we're going to start at index 0 with the columns as well. So, and we want to go up to this 2 here, but we want to include the 2 as well. So basically we have to go up to this value here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, index 3. And there you go. So if we were to put a 4 here instead, we're going to get all of the, all of them. And yeah, basically slice notation again. So this one's for the rows here. You're going to separate with a comma and then include the slice notation for the columns you want to include afterwards. And that's how it works. So let's say we want all the rows. So we want all of these rows here, but we want every other column. So we want to skip this 566 column and we want to skip the 487 column. So remember, start, stop, step. It's the same thing here, except you're going to have another comma. So x2, and then since we want all the rows, we're going to have just a colon there. I think, yes, it's going to be a colon again, and then, yeah, the step value should be that. And it's not. So let's see here. What did I do? So all rows, every other column. Since we want all the rows, we're going to have colon, up to the 3. And then every other column. There we go. So what I did here, since we want all rows, we're going to start with the colon here. So start at index 0 and go all the way up to index 3 on the row. So because we don't want to include the third index row, 0, 1, 2, there's no actual third index row. And that's why we got to put it, because we want this one included. But if we were to put the 2, index 2 there instead, it's not going to include the 2, remember? So see, that's the difference there. So let's go back, because we want all the rows. And then we're going to work with the columns now on this second index here, or slice notation. And since we're working with the columns, we want to start with the colon. So every column, we're going to look at every column here, starting with index 0 on the column. But our step value is going to be 2. Oh, I forgot a colon. But our step value is going to, sorry about that. This is so confusing to you. Apologize. Remember, I'm learning. So our start value is a colon. And our stop value is a colon as well. So we want to look at the whole thing, the whole enchilada here. And our last value, our step value, is 2. So when we're looking at the column here, at the columns, we want to look at all of them, but step by 2 every time. So the 371, skip this, and then 287, and yeah, I hope that made a little bit of sense at least. But you could also just extract like a single column. So let's say you want this 371 here, for example. You could do, so we want, in this case, we're going to include all the rows, since we want basically the first, we want to look at the first value from every row. We're going to have the colon there, and then then we want to look at, wait, is it that easy? First column of x2, and then you're going to get the first column only, so 0, 1, 2, 3 are the indexes there. So since we want to include this one here, we have to go up to index 1, since we're not going to include actual index 1. That should work. That didn't work. Let's see. Let's see here. Sorry guys, I suck at this. I know. First column, So start want the whole thing. Interesting. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. And then x2. Wait. So x2. Remember, I'm learning again. Like I said, my bad. I suck at this. Should work. Okay. So there we go. We want the first column. So we're gonna include every row, and then that's the first slice notation or whatever. We're not gonna include any values there in the first slice. So since we just put a colon by itself, it's gonna include every row itself, separated with a comma, and then we want to slice the columns we want to extract, and we want to basically just want index 0 for the column, so the 371, and that gives us that. Hope that made a little sense there. Also keep in mind, so array slices return views and not copies, so makes more sense when you see an example. So let's do x2 view equals, and then x2, let's say we want, I don't know, that. Let's say let's print it out. So we got this little subarray here that we extracted from x2 called x2 view. Sorry, I know I'm taking a while with the typing or with the coding, but I'm learning. Like I said, I'm not the best coder. That's the point of doing this. I know I keep saying that, but I keep messing up, I guess. Anyway, so once we got that, let's say we want x2 view equals oh no, wait, let's say we want 0 0. So let's call it now. Okay, so in this x2 view, so inside of this one here, this is x2 view. Inside of this, I switched the index 0 0. So 0, the first index would be the row 0 and column 0. So the 3 here, switch that to a 12. And remember, they create views, right? So this is what x2 view looks like. So the original x2 also has that 12 as well. So it does that because it's not an actual copy of the array itself. So it's not creating an additional copy for you to work on. It's giving you the view of that copy itself, or of that the view of that array, sorry. So let's say you want to create a copy of a certain array. So let's do x2 copy equals, and then let's do the same thing. So and then so look, we still got that 12. Now let's do x2 copy. Let's do 0 0 again equals I don't know, 20. Wait, am I doing this right? x2 copy 0 0 plus 20. Hold up. Oh, there it is. So I'm an idiot. Dot copy. Here we go. Okay. Now we look at x2. It stays at 12. See? So it didn't change to 20. So what I did here, let's look at it from the beginning actually. So array slices work as views, not copies, right? So we got the original x2 array here. This is the original one. We created another variable called x2 view to extract this subarray here, 3576. We got index 00 here, so the 3 in this case, and switch that to a 12 instead. So this is that new subarray. So 576 are the same here. In here, we only switch the 00 value, our index value. And then when we look at the x2 again, notice they changed, right? Because we didn't create a copy, we just used a view. So our new x2 has this 12 inside. And let's say we want to create a copy of this whole array here. So instead of a view of this array, we want to create an actual copy and have a duplicate copy of it. So in that case, we would set a new variable, x2 copy equals the x. So this here will just be the subarray 12576, and then we want that to be a copy of itself. So dot copy, and that's what it looks like here. That's our new variable x2 copy. And since we added this dot copy parentheses, that creates a copy of it. So once we go inside this variable x2 copy and add a new value at index 00, so in this case we added number 20. Remember the first time we did this is switch the original x2 from 3 to a 12. So in this case, it kept it as 12 again. So yeah, if we didn't like include this dot copy here, like let's see. Since we didn't include the dot copy, then we were working with the view of the original array. And since we were working with the view of the original, then we changed the original array as well. And see the 20 there is now the 20 here.